Do you ever feel completely unmotivated to do anything other than eat junk food, scroll on TikTok, and play video games? Maybe you can't watch a film without losing interest even though you used to have a great attention span. Do you feel empty, unfulfilled, and groggy? You're most likely suffering from brain rot, also known as dopamine addiction. But don't worry, this video will help you beat brain rot and bring back your happiness, your motivation, and your ambition for life. In this video, I'll cover what brain rot actually is, why certain things give you brain rot, how to heal your brain from brain rot, and how to prevent brain rot from ever coming back.
Fuck a pigeonhole.
And this video is all me, no bullshit, no AI, so let's get it, you little beast.
I'm a night owl, it's a different mode.
Brain rot is a term that everybody knows, and the feeling is pretty self-explanatory. It's a rotted brain. You have a shorter attention span, no motivation to do anything, poor decision making, probably quite lustful. Ultimately, you're unhappy. But brain rot is actually the result of dopamine addiction. So what actually is dopamine addiction? Dopamine is responsible for the regulation of mood, motivation, and pleasure. It is a key component of the brain's reward system. It encourages the repetition of pleasurable activities. When big levels of dopamine are released, it feels great in the moment. Dopamine acts as a way for our brain to reward us. Historically, whenever we went out and hunted and gathered food, gathered supplies for our shelter, our brain would release dopamine, and this would act as a way to reward us so that we know we're doing the right thing for survival. However, in modern society, acts of instant gratification are designed to hijack our brain's reward system, and this releases an unnatural, insane amount of dopamine whenever we do any of these instant gratification activities. And because these activities release insane amounts of dopamine, they feel really pleasurable, so our brain pushes us to keep pursuing them and keep doing them over and over again. The more we do them, the more our brain becomes desensitized to them, which means we have to do a little bit more than we did last time in order to feel the same effect and for the same amount of dopamine to be released within our brain. The brain is also designed to seek comfort, and this is because comfort is safe, and ultimately the brain just wants the body to be safe from danger. That is its primary goal, is to keep the body safe so that you can keep surviving and keep living. Add to this the fact that instant gratification activities release easy amounts of dopamine because you don't really have to do any work when it comes to instant gratification. The brain pushes you to pursue these activities more. So what is instant gratification? Well, acts of instant gratification include watching porn and masturbating, playing video games, scrolling through social media or TikTok on your phone, eating junk food, vaping, consuming drugs or alcohol. Anything that feels good in the moment and is relatively easy to get a kick out of. So how do you become addicted to them? Well, when a substance or activity releases a huge amount of dopamine, the brain draws an association between the stimuli and the dopamine, thinking that the stimuli is responsible for feeling great. So the brain pushes you to keep doing it and keep pursuing it because it releases dopamine. And this can lead to habit forming and compulsive decision making. So now we know this. Why is a shorter attention span traditionally associated with being brain rotted or having brain rot? Well, instant gratification activities usually trigger the dopamine release pretty instantly, hence the name. And because the brain is getting this dopamine so quickly, and it knows that it can get it so quickly from these other things, whenever you try and focus on something that might be a little bit longer or take a little bit longer for the dopamine to be released, the brain pushes you and creates these distractions. And these distractions tend to be things that release dopamine easier, such as scrolling TikTok on your phone. This releases dopamine pretty much instantly, which is why if you try to watch a film or do anything else, and suddenly you'll feel the urge to get your phone out and start scrolling on TikTok or short form content, that is why. So why is it deep? Why does it matter if you're participating in instant gratification? Well, because instant gratification releases dopamine. This means you're more likely to pursue these activities again and again. If you pursue them again and again, the more you pursue them, the more you'll become desensitized to them, which means in future, if you do it again, you'll have to keep doing more and more of it to feel the same thing. Take a cookie, for example. If you have one cookie, then 10-20 minutes later, you'll crave another one. But just having one doesn't hit the same as it did the first time, so you'll probably have 2 cookies the next time. After that, you'll have 3. This is why so many of you might buy a packet of biscuits and have 1 or 2, and then before you know it, the whole packet's gone. Because you can't just have 1 or 2. Your brain knows that these are giving you dopamine, and it'll push you to keep eating them until there's none left. Because when there's none left, there's physically nothing more you can do. This is why you can't stop until you have them all. And because your brain cannot stop, because it'll keep pushing you to keep getting more and more dopamine from them every time, meaning you increase the intensity and the amount you're doing it more and more. This is the same for any instant gratification activity, so playing video games, eating junk food, watching porn and masturbating, scrolling on TikTok, you'll do them more and more. And it'll get to the point where one of them won't feel as good as the other. So you'll do the other for a bit, but then you won't stop doing the other one because your brain knows that also releases dopamine. You'll be addicted to that thing now, because your brain has drawn association between the reward of dopamine and that activity. So you'll keep doing that, but you'll play video games a little bit more, and then you'll scroll on TikTok a little bit more, also while eating junk food, and you'll start doing them at the same time. And this is why a lot of people listen to a podcast and have music on in the background and play a video game, and they might even have a TV show on as well. I used to live with a lad at uni who used to play video games, play FIFA, have a podcast on here, have one earbud in where he'd listen to music, and also have a show on in the background at the same time. And obviously nobody can focus on that, but your brain, because it's seeking comfort and it knows it gets dopamine from all these things at once, wants them all on. So you'll put them all on, and that'll feel satisfying to some people. Wouldn't to me, but to some people it would, if your brain's fried and your brain rotted. And think about this, as you're becoming desensitized to the acts of instant gratification, just think how other things will begin to feel. Going to the gym, reading books. The dopamine release from those things will feel so insignificant that your brain just will lose all motivation to do any of those things at all, and you'll stop doing them. You'll stop doing them and start doing the instant gratification more and more, and then think how you'd feel. You've gone from going to the gym, being motivated, reading, to having 12 hours of screen time a day, eating loads of junk food when you used to eat healthy. And you don't go outside, you don't see sunlight anymore, you just play video games all day, don't speak to a single person. And obviously, all the downside, all the negative benefits of all of these things individually just accumulate, and you feel them all at once, which leads to feelings of low mood, which then manifests itself into feelings of anxiety and depression. If you think about it, over time, you've probably gone from watching really long form content to the shortest form content possible. You've probably gone from watching films to watching TV shows to watching long form YouTube videos, and then long form videos don't feel as good anymore. You now just watch short form videos, and you'll probably tell yourself that long videos, they just don't hit the same anymore. They aren't as good as they used to be. That's not the case. The case is you are just so dopamine addicted, so brain rotted, that your brain is telling you, no, these longer form things, they don't feel as good anymore. Watching TV shows, it doesn't feel as good. Watching long form videos, it doesn't feel as good. Watch the short form, because that's where you're getting all the dopamine from. If this is you, if you can't focus on anything because you'd rather scroll on TikTok, you are brain rotted and you need this video most. Think of it like food. If you eat rice all day, yeah, it's horrible. But if you eat it for every meal, it'll taste fine. You know, it'll keep you ticking. It'll come with the next meal, and when you start to get hungry, you'll actually feel like, oh yeah, I'm looking forward to this rice. It's going to be good. But then if you have some fruit or a steak, after that the rice just will not hit the same. And this is what it's like when you build dopamine from these instant gratification activities. At first, you know, playing a story video game like Red Dead Redemption, that'll feel great. But the more you scroll on TikTok, if you have a few games of Call of Duty, going back to the long story game where you have to focus a lot of your time for less dopamine, just won't feel anywhere near as good. I see it as sort of, there's a threshold, and the more you push the threshold, the harder it is to do anything below that threshold. Say, if in my opinion, the biggest dopamine releasing thing is masturbating to porn. And if you've ever done this first thing in the morning, you can I bet you felt this. Once you finish, nothing in the rest of the day feels as good as that did. And all your motivation to do anything else in the rest of the day is on the ground. And I bet you can't force yourself to do anything. And that's because you hit the highest dopamine level you can hit for the day when you did that. Which is again why people fall into this masturbation addiction where they'll do it 3-4 times a day, because your brain is pushing you to do it. Your brain is saying, that was great, it released so much dopamine, go and do it again. And you fall into doing that instead of going to the gym or seeing your friends. I also find that the more instant gratification, dopamine releasing activities you do, the more likely you are to pursue more of them, because you've broke that threshold now, and it's so easy to creep above and above where you were at. So now we've covered what brain rot is, how you can get addicted to certain things, why certain things release brain rot. how do you heal from brain rot? Well, the answer to that is choose delayed gratification. We have instant gratification and delayed gratification. But what is delayed gratification? Acts of delayed gratification include going to the gym, building a business, reading, meditating, journaling. Things that might not feel as good in the moment as instant gratification activities, but things that you know deep down you should be doing. And once you've done them, no matter how hard you feel they are, or you don't want to do them before you do them, when you do finally get around to doing them, say going to the gym, for example, going on a 5k run, you feel great after. And you feel completely guilt free as well. When you sat inside playing video games for 2-3 hours, you have this feeling of guilt deep down because you know really there are better things you could be doing with your time. But when you do delayed gratification activities, you never feel guilt, and that is how you know they are the right thing to choose. Instant gratification is typically easy to choose, easy to do, doesn't take much brain power, whereas delayed gratification is the complete opposite. Before you do it, you'll think, oh, I really don't want to do this. You'll probably have pop into your mind an act of instant gratification that you'd rather do instead. But whilst you're doing it, it's really hard. It's really hard going to the gym halfway through. It's easy to give up and I want to go home and play video games. You'll constantly get the acts of instant gratification coming into your brain, trying to pull you away from the task that you've set yourself, the delayed gratification task. But once you finish that delayed gratification task, you'll be so glad you did it. You'll be guilt free. You'll feel great, and that's how you know what is delayed gratification, what is instant gratification. Just ask yourself whilst you're doing something: do I feel guilty doing this? If no, then it's probably delayed gratification. And if you feel great after, then it's definitely delayed gratification. And that is the thing you should be choosing every time. And the reason these acts of delayed gratification might not feel great before or during doing them, but they feel great after, is because they release dopamine slowly, as opposed to spiking your dopamine the way instant gratification does. But when it comes to healing your brain from brain rot and dopamine addiction, the more you choose delayed gratification, the more you'll retrain your brain to enjoy doing the hard things, to the point where eventually these hard things won't feel hard at all, and it'll get to the point where you'll feel so great from doing the delayed gratification activities, you won't even think about picking the instant gratification, because why would you want to fall back into that life? It won't be easy at first, but the more delayed gratification you choose and the more your dopamine levels start to reset, the easier and easier it'll get to choose the delayed gratification activities. And this is when all the side effects and the symptoms of brain rot will start to disappear, and your drive, your motivation, your ambition, and your happiness will start to return. So now your brain's healing, but these acts of instant gratification, they keep popping into your head. How do you stop them? How do you pursue delayed gratification when instant gratification feels so appealing? I feel like you already know the answer to this one. You just need to continue to choose delayed gratification. The more you choose delayed gratification, the more tests are going to be thrown your way from the universe and other people. Because people don't want to see you driven and succeed, especially not the universe. The more you choose delayed gratification, going to the gym, building yourself over instant gratification and lust, the more tests you'll have, because the more tempting it'll be. But on the flip side, the more you resist the urge to pursue instant gratification, the more satisfying delayed gratification will feel. But to get better, you need to treat this like an actual addiction. No more 1 more minute scrolls on TikTok, or one more game, one more Call of Duty game. It's alright, it's just one more game. Nah. That's the equivalent of an alcoholic saying, just one more drink, please. And then before you know it, they've had 10 pints and they're pissed, and they've completely given up. You need to be strict with this, and you need to take this seriously, because if you don't take this seriously now, think of how bad it's got in the last 5 years. Think of where your attention span's gone in the last 5 years, and look at everybody around you. I'm not sure when the last time you did this is, but the next time you go on public transport or anywhere where people have to be alone with their thoughts, look around you. Don't go on your phone. That is the point. Don't go on your phone. Put your phone in your pocket and look around you. How many other people are doing the same? How many other people are sat on that public transport or anywhere in the room, in the waiting room at the doctor's, and they're not on the phone, they're just sat with their own thoughts like you're doing. Because if you do this, you'll be in the top 1% of that room. Last night, me and my girlfriend went to the cinemas where there's a film on. People have paid to be in this film, and sat next to my girlfriend. It was me, my girlfriend, and this young girl there with a friend or a mum, or I couldn't tell. This young girl sat next to my girlfriend was on her phone during the film. Do you have any idea how crazy that is? That this young girl's paid to watch this film, and she sat on her phone because she doesn't have the attention span to watch a film. If you want to achieve great things in your life, then let this girl be an example. You need to sort your dopamine addiction out now. Being brain rotted is this huge thing on the internet where people laugh and find it funny, but realistically, it's a sad problem. And if you're brain rotted, then you need to do anything in your power to reverse that. Because think of your future. If you don't sort this out now, in 10, 20 years' time, you'll look back and all the potential you had, all the time you could have been spent in the gym, building a business, learning skills, learning hobbies. You've sacrificed all of that for what? Playing games of Call of Duty you can't even remember. Watching TikToks you can't even remember. Name the last 10 short form videos you watched. Actually, no, scrap that. Name 10 short form videos you watched within the last week. I bet you can't even name one. Let that sink in for a minute. I bet you can't name one short form video you've watched today. You're just mindlessly scrolling on your phone. And that should be a wake up call. You need to make future you proud. Start choosing actual information from books rather than pointless information on celebrity gossip from social media. Watch a documentary or a film, even a film that you actually want to watch, rather than watching somebody talk about their latest clothes haul on TikTok. Go outside and be in nature, or see your friends in real life, rather than talking to them over a video game that you won't even remember in a week's time. Eat real, healthy food and go to the gym. Build a body and level up in real life rather than leveling up in a video game. Do breath work and meditation to breathe out toxicity instead of breathing in toxicity by vaping, drugs and alcohol. Lock in and make future you proud whilst you can before it's too late. Because when you're 60, you're going to look back on this if you didn't lock in now. I hope you remember this video. If you watch this video and don't take action now, I hope when you're 60 you look back on this and you regret every second. Because this is serious. This is really, really serious. I'm worried for our generation and the future generations because of phones and dopamine addiction. And if you're not worried, then what are you doing? This should be a wake-up call for you, brother, please. But anyway, you get the idea. Choose delayed gratification, because if you put all the time that you're spending on instant gratification into delayed gratification, imagine where you'd be. You'd level up so much within a year, within 2 years. You'd be a completely different person in a good way. You'd still be you. Whenever I say you'd be a different person, people think, oh, like, I don't want to be a different person. I enjoy being me. You'll still be you, but you'll be a 10 times better version of yourself. You'll be in a place you actually want to be. You'll be making money. You'll be going out with friends and spending time with friends. You'll have a body you can be proud of, and maybe even a girlfriend. If you put all the time, look at your screen time on your phone now. This is a challenge. Go look at your screen time on your phone now. Imagine if you put all that time into building a skill. It only takes 10 hours a week to get fairly competent at a skill. If you live in a busy life, 10 hours a week is enough. If you put 10 hours of that time into YouTube, for example, you could be financially free. But do you even know what you've done in that time? Let's be a wake-up call, brother. And I'm not saying this to come for you. I'm not saying this because these are not fun or they're inherently bad. They're not. I'm saying this because I've been there. I've spent so much time on video games when I was younger. I've got on on Steam, which is this games hub, I suppose, like this like shop on PC. If you're watching this, you know what Steam is. I've got over 1,500 hours on one game. If I'd spent all that time on YouTube or building a business or going to the gym, I go to the gym, don't get me wrong, but more time on going to the gym or learning new skills, new hobbies, I would love to know where I was now. But instead, here I am, making up for lost time. And that's it. That's all you need to know on beating brain rot, beating dopamine addiction, and winning yourself back. I'm not saying this to be harsh, brother. I'm saying it because I love you and I want the best for you. Good luck. We'll beat dopamine together. I'll see you later.